AITA for accepting my grandma's nuclear will and refusing to share. I, 25F, recently inherited everything from my grandmother's estate, and my family has completely turned against me. They've been harassing me, threatening legal action, and even tried to break into my home. My grandmother, let's call her Margaret, was a very wealthy woman. She owned multiple properties, had significant investments, and lived a comfortable life. More importantly, she was the only person in my family who truly cared about me. Growing up, my parents, especially my mother, made it very clear that I was an unwanted child. My older siblings, 30M and 32F, were treated like royalty, while I was expected to cook, clean, and take care of household responsibilities. Margaret, on the other hand, always made sure I had what I needed: clothes, school supplies, even emotional support. She also paid for my college tuition when my parents refused, despite being financially capable. She passed away last month, and that's when everything changed. At the reading of the will, my family was expecting a big payday. My mother was already making plans to buy a vacation home, and my brother had just purchased a new car on credit, assuming he'd be able to pay it off with his inheritance. Then, the lawyer read the will. Margaret left everything to me. My parents and siblings? Not a single cent. The lawyer then read a specific clause. Under no circumstances is my granddaughter to share this inheritance with her parents or siblings. If she does, the entire estate will be liquidated and donated to charity. My mother lost it. She started screaming, accusing me of manipulating Margaret and demanding a new will. My father sat in stunned silence, while my brother and sister began yelling at me about how unfair this was. You must have tricked her into this. She wasn't in her right mind when she wrote that will. You need to do the right thing and split the money. The lawyer kicked them out of his office after they became aggressive. Since then, they've been harassing me non-stop, calling, texting, and even showing up uninvited. I am so confused. I knew Margaret favored me, but why did she completely cut off the rest of the family? Update. After getting countless calls from my family, I went back to Margaret's lawyer to see if he had any insight into why she was so adamant about keeping them away from her money. It turns out, Margaret had left a sealed letter for me, along with some personal documents. The lawyer was only allowed to give them to me if I specifically asked. I sat in his office, opened the letter, and my blood ran cold. Margaret had discovered years ago that my parents and siblings were planning to have me declared mentally unfit so they could gain control over her estate. They were actively working on getting me institutionalized. When I was around 18, my mother started telling extended family and friends that I was unstable. She claimed I had violent tendencies and outbursts and suggested I needed to be put in a psychiatric facility. Then, my brother went a step further. He falsified a police report stating that I had attacked him during an argument. I barely even spoke to him, let alone physically harmed him. But with that report, they were building a case against me. The plan was clear: 1. Convince authorities that I was mentally unstable. 2. Have me committed. 3. Gain legal guardianship over me. 4. Secure full control over Margaret's estate when she passed. But Margaret found out. She hired private investigators, gathered documented evidence, and shut them down. She also changed her will to ensure they would never get a single cent, because she knew if they had access to money, they would use it to come after me again. I felt sick. These weren't just selfish people, they were willing to destroy my life for money. I immediately cut off all contact with my family. I blocked their numbers, refused to answer the door when they showed up, and even considered moving. But I have a feeling this isn't over yet. Final update. After blocking my family, I thought they would eventually give up. They didn't. Instead, they sued me. They claimed I had coerced Margaret into writing them out of the will and accused me of elder abuse. They even brought in fake witnesses, including some distant relatives and friends of Margaret, who testified that I had isolated her and forced her to change the will. They thought they had a solid case. They were wrong. Margaret's private investigators' reports proved my family had been plotting against me for years. The police report my brother filed was exposed as fake. My lawyer presented video recordings of Margaret, taken just months before she passed, where she clearly explained her reasons for cutting them off. She explicitly stated that she was disgusted by their actions and wanted me to have everything. The judge threw out their case immediately. Then came the best part. My lawyer counter-sued for harassment and defamation. And we won. My parents were forced to pay legal fees that put them into massive debt. My brother lost his job after it came out that he had filed false police reports. My sister tried to quietly distance herself, but at that point, it was too late. As for me, I moved to one of Margaret's properties in another state, changed my number, and cut them out of my life for good. Margaret didn't just leave me an inheritance. She saved me. She saw what was coming and made sure I would be protected, even after she was gone. If I ever doubted keeping the inheritance, I sure as hell don't now. Good riddance. I don't need a family that was planning on having me locked up in a mental health institution and ruin my whole life just so they can inherit more money. Grateful for all the people who gave me advice and supported me during this mess. Thank you all.